Today we're going to take a look at Charlie Kirk, the right-wing, what's a polite term we can use for him? Whack job, crackpot, thorn in the side of rational thought. John Iadarola and Ana Kasparian from the Young Turks talk about the appointment of John Thune as the Senate Majority Leader to succeed Mitch McConnell. And we kick off here with Charlie Kirk talking about, how the right is positioning themselves in terms of this. But let's get in there and mix it up.
They do a secret ballot because they're terrified of you. John Thune is now Senate Majority Leader. If he does not support President Trump in these next 30 to 45 days to fill President Trump's cabinet, we will remove him. If he does support President Trump, we'll support him.
Well, Charlie Kirk and other MAGA Republicans are absolutely seething today after Senator John Thune, who has been the Senate whip in the Republican Party, was chosen to be the new Senate Majority Leader. And Republicans have taken control of the Senate for the next Congress with 53 senators out of the 100. Now, Kirk and others in the America First movement were rooting for Rick Scott rather than John Thune, but they ultimately didn't get their way. And I think it's actually fascinating that Senate Republicans went for Thune over Scott, because I think that they're trying to message something. So
just before I let her continue here, Rick Scott is the kind of quintessential yes man. He is absolutely in the pocket of the cuckoo bird, all far right wing of the MAGA movement, in there with Charlie Kirk and all of the other, just the real Trump can do no wrong folks.
Buckle up. Let's get to what I think they're trying to message here. So here's what you need to know about Thune and how he was picked and what that means for the future of the Senate. So Thune was in fact elected through a secret ballot. So we don't know who voted in favor or against him. In other words, the Senate Republicans voted anonymously to choose who they want as their chamber's leader. So Thune was in competition with both Rick Scott and John Cornyn for the role. Now, as previously mentioned, the likes of Kirk, Elon Musk, JFK Jr., Vivek Ramaswamy, and Tucker Carlson were all rooting for Rick Scott, who, by the way, carried out the biggest Medicare fraud in this country's history, because Thune actually is an ally of Mitch McConnell. And Donald Trump despises Mitch McConnell.
And let me just pop in here one more time. Hardly a bunch of left-wing liberals, right? I mean, really by being an ally of Mitch McConnell's, what we're talking about is more of what you think of as not even a traditional Reagan conservative Republican, but a neocon Republican of the Mitch McConnell vein. Certainly not, a hero of the left by any stretch of the imagination, but not the kind of shadow puppet that these MAGA folks are that literally want to become mouthpieces for Trump.
Thune, honestly, is more indicative of the traditional conservative neocon Republican, honestly. And so Thune, he did trade some blows with Trump in the past. For instance, he declared the effort to throw out Biden electors would go down like a shot dog, prompting an angry response from Trump, who called him a rhino and called for him to face a primary challenge in 2022. Well, that didn't go anywhere, clearly. But in the years since, John Thune has in fact toned down his criticism of Donald Trump, and the two have been in contact this year. It's also worth noting that while Trump did not directly intervene in the race for, the Senate leadership, he made a demand of all three candidates, which they unanimously agreed to. And so what was that? Well, let's get to his post. He writes, any Republican senator seeking the coveted leadership position in the United States Senate must agree to recess appointments in the Senate, without which we will not be able to get people confirmed in a timely manner. Sometimes the votes can take 2 years or more. This is what they did 4 years ago, and we cannot let it happen again. We need positions filled immediately. Additionally, no judges should be approved during this period of time because the Democrats are looking to ram through their judges as the Republicans fight over leadership. This is not acceptable. Thank you.
He's so polite. It's a little rich accusing the Democrats of trying to ram through their judges as the Republicans fight over leadership, since, the Republicans and Mitch McConnell did nothing but ram through judges the entire tenure of Trump's first presidency.
And per the Washington Post, Thune told his fellow Republican senators in a closed-door meeting that he would work hand in glove with the Trump administration. Thune also made his stance very clear on the filibuster after his win. Take a look.
Will the legislative filibuster remain unchanged under your tenure?
Yes.
Okay, so John, very curious what you think about the Senate Republicans, voting for John Thune over someone who could potentially be even more of a lackey for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I there's a lot of ways in which I have not yet been convinced that I necessarily care between those three. I suppose him saying that he will continue the legislative filibuster, that is something.
Oh, for sure. I think it is.
That's.
And just before we go further, if you're not aware of this, the filibuster is the one thing that allows the minority party to put brakes on the majority's agenda, right? And the Republicans utilize this again and again during the Biden administration, certainly during the Obama administration. Both sides use it. It's not necessarily. The Republicans, I think, have used it more like a weapon, but it is a tool that has been up for debate. Should we get rid of this so we can actually get something done? And of course, when you're the majority, that seems more appealing. When you're the minority, you think, whoa, you can't get rid of the only brakes we have. So of course, under Biden, the idea of getting rid of the filibuster was absolutely sneered at and derided by the Republicans as a violation of the sanctity of the rules of the Senate, and time honored would be an abomination, etc. But now that they're in power and they want to do some really cuckoo bird quacky stuff, this idea that they would flip flop and get rid of the filibuster so that the minority party, the Democrats, can do anything to stop them doesn't seem far-fetched to me at all. So, I agree with John Iadarola here that I suppose if you got to pick one out of three right-wing nut jobs, then John Thune, at least respecting precedent and procedure, is something to be glad about.
Something. He's really trying to reassure them that all three were like, no, I'm barely even a person anymore. I'm certainly not a man. I'm whatever you need. I just want my name on the door, but it's just going to be you that's going to be calling all the shots. It's a pathetic way to organize a party. There's multiple ways that a party can end up in a really dark place. We critique the Democratic Party for the way it works, but this is no way to run a party. Clearly, the Republican senators don't want to work with Rick Scott. We can speculate as to why. He seems like an utter ghoul and a fraud. That may be part of it. They think they can get more done with Thune. And we should bear in mind that in almost all these nominations, there's a definite fight between those who think that loyalty is the only thing that matters, the willingness to bow down, and those who think maybe competence or experience matters in some way, that these are actual important positions where it matters who's there. And so the Republican senators voting for Thune, I don't think they're necessarily doing it because they're like, this is how we're going to stick it to Trump.
No.
They may want the Senate to actually function because that's where they work.
Well, Thune has served as majority whip, and so he's been effective in carrying out the agenda of the Republican Party and finding a way to get the votes necessary to pass the legislation that they want. But yeah, I think, honestly, whenever I get this urge to panic with all the news that's been coming out about Donald Trump, certainly when you Think about Doge or the Doge under Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They allegedly
Never
want to cut.
So if you don't know what that is, the Department of Government Efficiency is Vivek Ramaswamy and our guy Elon Musk, baby, have been appointed, and it's not quite clear what this is. It doesn't have any actual authority to do anything. It seems it's being set up like it's a new government agency, but this is a whole new thing that Trump was just sort of waved his stick around and said, okay, we're going to have this and get these billionaires in here to, whatever they're going to do, make the government more efficient. We'll see about that.
We want to cut $2 trillion in government funding by firing, government workers and all that sort of stuff. I mean, they would need their own funding in order to operate. And guess who needs to approve all that? Congress. And so with Thune saying that he will maintain the Senate filibuster, and with Thune being less of a Trump sycophant compared to the other two, I think that, the Senate might actually be a mitigating factor in the Trump administration or during the Trump administration. And I don't think I'm being too hopeful. I mean, the whole point of the Senate is to be a mitigating factor. It's meant to slow down the agenda of the executive branch. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely traditionally. Not many traditions have survived to the modern era. Maybe that one will. It could definitely be important for some legislation. And, we're going to find out over the next few years how much still needs to go through actual legislation, how much can be done just by having, complete toadies in charge of every aspect of the federal bureaucracy. We're going to find that out together. It certainly could matter. Look, I'm in a mode to look for, signs of optimism anywhere I can. The fact that it bothers Tucker Carlson and Vivek Ramaswamy is certainly a good sign for those with functioning brains, I guess. So I will take that.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive.
I think John Iadarola makes a good point here, is that it's difficult to know all of the minutia of everything going on and what it implies. But one litmus test I certainly look at characters like, Tucker Carlson and Vivek Ramaswamy, and if this pisses them off, I'm generally encouraged, even though I may not understand all of the minutia of everything that it implies. I just want to end by going back to the Charlie Kirk clip, and it's less about him saying something, contextually important than his kind of tone, right? Because I singularly despise Charlie Kirk, and a lot of it, it certainly has to do with the concrete things that he says, but a lot of it is this entitled, sanctimonious attitude that I find, is really quite alarming. Let's give it one more listen.
They do a secret ballot because they're terrified of you. John Thune is now Senate Majority Leader. If he does not support President Trump in these next 30 to 45 days to fill President Trump's cabinet, we will remove him. If he does support President Trump, we'll support him.
Again, not clear how loudmouth Charlie Kirk has any weight in that regard at all. And he's certainly secret ballot because they're terrified of you. I guess you, the conservative audience to which he's speaking. I don't know. If anything Charlie Kirk is saying here makes sense to you, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, if you have any other thoughts about what John Iadarola said or about Ana Kasparian's comments from the Young Turks, let me know in the comments. Give us a like and subscribe. That helps us out. Otherwise, I'll see you next video.